Zoe ended up buying the Modrobes brand. And it's not the only brand to rise from the ashes. But when an undead brand is resurrected, are you always getting the real McCoy? That's next week. The Cost of Living is based in Calgary. The show is produced by Daniel Nerman, Ellis Cho, and Jennifer Keane. Our executive producer is Tracy Johnson. I'm Paul Habersrud. Thanks for listening.
This is CBC Radio 1, 990 AM, 89.3 FM in Winnipeg.
You have lots of questions about your own life and this really complex world around you. I'm Sarocha Coelho. I'm the host of the new live call-in show, Just Asking. I take your questions about what's in the news or your finances, health, even your relationship.
This is CBC News. At 12 o'clock, we're at -1 with cloudy skies over downtown Winnipeg. Good afternoon. I'm Matt Humphrey. The Education Minister has done an about-face. Students in grade 10 and 12 will have to take provincial exams next year after all. Last week, schools were told the provincial exams are being pulled next year to give the province time to modernize how students are assessed. Parents and educators were critical, saying it leaves students unprepared for post-secondary education. Minister Nello Altomar says he listened and has reversed his decision.
We probably needed to take a step back, but what I didn't weigh was the other part where kids need to be prepared for post-secondary and whatever pursuit they want to go down, whatever road they want to go down. And I needed to give that a little more weight, and I did, and changed our decision.
Altomar says the assessment system will be modernized over the next 3 to 5 years so educators can better track how students are doing. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham's proposal to reopen Portage and Main faces another hurdle today. The CBC's Bartley Kivas is at City Hall.
The mayor wants to reopen Portage and Main by July 1st, 2025. His rationale is repairs needed for the intersection to allow the underground walkway to stay open would require 4 to 5 years of traffic disruption and would cost more money than simply reopening the intersection above ground to people. Council's Property Committee approved this plan last week. Today, Executive Policy Committee is poised to do the same. One question is, how many members of Gillingham's Inner Circle will vote against it? North Kildonan Councillor Jeff Brawadi says he's opposed. St. Vital Councillor Brian Mays is a question mark. The proposal goes to Council as a whole on March 21st. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg curler Brianne Harris faces a 4-year suspension after testing positive for a banned substance. But the 32-year-old plans to appeal, arguing she was unknowingly exposed to Ligandrol through bodily contact that is used to increase energy and muscle growth. Harris, the lead on Carrie Anerson's rink, wasn't allowed to play in last month's Scotties Tournament of Hearts. She was disqualified just hours before the opening game. Harris says her goal now is to resolve this quickly to preserve her dream of competing in the Olympics. Haiti's political future is looking even more uncertain. The unelected interim prime minister has resigned, and a violent gang insurrection is raising concerns about food and medical shortages in the country. Anna Cunningham has more.
Stuck in Puerto Rico, unable to get home, Ariel Henry agreed to resign. Weeks of pressure by armed gangs has seen the violence in Haiti spiral. Police stations and prisons have been attacked, and heavily armed gangs now reportedly control 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince. Tom Adamson, a Canadian, has lived in Haiti for 45 years. He runs a mattress manufacturing business. He told the CBC that he's now stuck in his compound.
Our trucks manage to get through by paying a tariff to the gangs every time they drive through. But if we tried to go to the factory, it could very easily turn into a kidnapping.
What happens next may well depend on Jimmy Cherizier, once a police officer, now a powerful gang leader known as Barbecue. He says it's up to Haitians to decide who governs the country. Anna Cunningham for CBC News, London.
The special counsel who investigated the retention of classified documents by U.S. President Joe Biden says he called it like he saw it. Robert Hur is testifying before a congressional committee where he was called to explain his findings, including questioning the president's memory.
My assessment in the report about the relevance of the president's memory was necessary and accurate and fair. Most importantly, what I wrote is what I believe the evidence shows and what I expect jurors would perceive and believe. I did not sanitize my explanation, nor did I disparage the president unfairly.
So far, the testifying process has fallen along party lines. Hur says charges against Biden weren't warranted. He found the intentional keeping of the documents after Biden's time as vice president did not reach the level of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The Vatican is backtracking on the Pope's controversial comments about the war in Ukraine. Last weekend, Francis said Kyiv should show what he called the white flag in response to Russian aggression. Here's Megan Williams in Rome.
The Vatican's second-in-command says the first condition for Ukraine to negotiate with Russia is for Russia to stop its aggression. Cardinal Pietro Parolin made the clarification in an interview published today in the Italian Corriere della Sera. Parolin's comments come after the Pope sparked anger in an interview released this weekend, where he said Ukraine, facing military defeats, should show the courage of the white flag and negotiate with Russia. On Monday, Ukraine's foreign ministry summoned the Vatican ambassador to express disappointment with the Pope's statement. The head of NATO said now was not the time to talk about surrender. The Kremlin was the only party that seemed pleased with the Pope's statement, calling it quite understandable. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.
In Winnipeg today, we're seeing increasing clouds with sunny breaks at times. This afternoon, a high around +3. In Brandon, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of +2 degrees. In Dauphin, a high of +2 with a mix of sun and cloud. And for news anytime, you can head on over to cbc.ca/Manitoba or use the CBC News app.
Good afternoon and welcome to Radio Noon. Surprise, I'm Lori Hoog-Stratton, filling in for not quite sure who, filling in. Coming up on the show today, lots of great stories for you. Really looking forward to falling for ice fishing. Hook, line, and sinker. 700 students are out on the Balsam Bay ice right now, rods at the ready. And we'll talk to the organizer of that fishing tournament at 12:45. And putting women's wellness front and center, we'll hear about an upcoming health expo. That's after the 12:30 news. And broccoli cheddar soup, pierogi soup, yam soup, all part of the Stone Soup event today. But right now, there are way, way, way too many dogs in Manitoba. Animal welfare groups across the country are calling it a public health emergency. There are too many dogs in Manitoba. That's according to a recent letter that calls the overpopulation of dogs, quote, a public health emergency. The letter, signed by 45 animal welfare groups across the country, calls on the provincial government for more funding. They're asking the province for $2.5 million a year for spay and neuter programs, accessible to urban, rural, and remote communities. Karina Gurwinski is the founding director of Feed the Fur Babies Canada. She signed the letter.
We're out of resources. We're out of funding. We have no space. We have nowhere left to put animals. So everyone is basically at their breaking point.
The Winnipeg Humane Society, however, did not sign the letter. Jessica Miller is CEO of the Winnipeg Humane Society. Good afternoon.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being with us. So, Jessica, why didn't the Humane Society sign this letter?
Yeah, so we were aware of the letter. We saw many groups joining together on social media in order to sign it. And I 100% respect that, and I'm proud that they are bringing awareness to this issue in the way that they are. The only reason we didn't sign the letter is we are currently in talks with the Minister of Agriculture on how we can best expand our program, which we call One Health. And so we currently have, it's a small program in partnership with the province of Manitoba to do spay-neuter clinics, medical clinics, provide access and reach to northern communities. And so I felt that it was best to continue on, in those negotiations. And I feel really positive that we're going to see more funding from the province. But in terms of what Karina said, she is not wrong. That's exactly where we're at right now.
So you share the same concerns?
We absolutely share the same concerns. Our One Health program only goes to so many communities, and we can only go so many times. It's very costly. The shelter that we run, has an operating budget of $13 million a year. And so a lot of our funding goes to what we're doing here. And so we need more funding to do what we can do up north. And I'm glad that we have the prototype through One Health, but we need to be doing way, way more.
Well, the letter calls for more funding, but for more widely accessible spay and neuter programs, having sort of more programs or more agencies involved. Wouldn't that benefit the Winnipeg Humane Society?
Absolutely. And we do have great partnerships with rescues. Sometimes we kind of, share the resources. Sometimes we'll chip in on travel. We'll chip in on spay and neuter. We'll bring the clinic. Someone will pay for food for the volunteers while we're there for, however many days. Someone will pay for lodging. And so we do join forces with these groups throughout the year to try to best put our resources together for the community. And I just wish that we had more for everyone, because then we would do more. And it's a matter of capacity. You can't just go to a community one time. You have to go multiple times and work with the community to try to help manage the problem. Mm-hmm. And so, it's not just about going to more communities. It's about going to more communities, but more times. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to see us build our One Health program further in going more times to make sure we're having real impact where we go, and then start to continue to grow the program throughout. And in partnership with the rescues, they are a huge resource to us.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Winnipeg. What are you seeing in the shelter here in terms of the number of dogs?
Oh, we've been at capacity for so long now. Currently, we have about 250 animals in the shelter and 122 in foster. We also have tons of diversion programs, and what that means to us is giving people resources to keep them with their animals instead of having to surrender them to the shelter. And so if they need food, we have a food bank. We have a primary care veterinary program for basic vaccinations. We have a no questions asked food bank that people can come to the shelter, or we'll deliver food to them if they're, experiencing homelessness or an extraordinarily difficult time in their life. Mm-hmm. the shelter's full and we don't want to take people's animals. So we're trying to do a little bit of both, taking what we can. We always have about a 300 animal wait list, but the way I try to describe it is we're almost like the emergency room. The person who has the heart attack has to come in first.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's what we have to do with the animals. If it's a hit by car or even a gunshot wound, that animal has to come in and then the waiting list remains the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate.
And you're saying that you're absolutely, overdogged. And what are you hearing from other shelters across the province? Is it the same situation?
Yeah, it's the same thing. And for the rescues, they don't have shelters. And so what they do is they look for fosters. So for fosters to kind of hold an animal in their own home and have them basically foster to adopt.
Right.
And so, all of these fosters are full too. They can only have so many animals. And from what I've heard, Animal Services, I believe they're okay right now, but they have endured extreme amounts of animals for the last couple of years too. And Leland Gordon, the general manager over there, sometimes calls here, do you have any room? I call there, do you have any room?
Yeah.
So we're all just trying to find either a shelter or a foster safe space for some of these animals that are in transition.
Mm-hmm. Now, the letter signed by the 45 animal welfare groups calls the overpopulation of the dogs a public health emergency. Like, what do they mean by that?
Yeah, so, roaming dogs, whether they're in community, sometimes they're not spay-neutered, often they're not vaccinated. So there can be disease spread by that, as well as, there are children that are being mauled by packs of dogs and going into emergency rooms. So it's not just about the number of dogs, it's about what happens when the number of dogs becomes that large. And, a lack of food also has them going up to children and whatnot. So in order to keep these communities and the children safe, we have to do something about the dogs. And in terms of Winnipeg, people are seeing lots of dogs running at large, and that's dangerous. We don't know if the animal is friendly or not. And so, yeah, it's not just about how can we help the animals. It's about how can we help the people and these animals to keep everyone safe, including the animal.
And some people might say, particularly in Winnipeg, well, why don't people just adopt more dogs? But that's not a solution, is it?
Well, I feel like our market is just kind of getting saturated. What we've tried to do is even just, for example, if we have an animal that's been really, really long-term, what can we do? Can we give them a break in foster because they end up declining in shelter over time? It's loud. Nothing is theirs. They're in their, 4 walls of space. And so we've tried to do trades even with different rescues. Do you have a market for this animal? We've worked with the Pembina Valley Humane Society to trade animals to see if there's a better adoption market there, but sometimes to no avail. So it comes down to spay and neuter. It comes down to backyard breeders. We don't want people breeding more and more animals that there aren't homes for. There's so many beautiful and deserving shelter animals that people can come and look at. And, we have adoption counselors ready 7 days a week to help people find their new friend. And so that's what we're encouraging right now.
And just before I let you go, what can Manitobans do to help solve this problem?
Oh, please spay and neuter your pet. Don't let your animal run at large. License your animal. Fund us. That's my job. I have to ask for funding from the community and from the government. Fund us. Fund your rescue. If you have any little bit left, we will take it and do so much good with it. You can go to our website and donate. You can restrict your gift to our One Health program to make sure that we are providing reach and access up north. And so I guess the last thing I could say is, do you have it in you to become a foster? Do you have the time and the space? Sometimes it's a matter of just having a bathroom for a little kitten that needs some extra care and bottle feeding. And that would just be so helpful. If you can also sign up to foster on our website. And of course, a ton of the rescues are foster-based, so people could do the same with them.
Well, thank you, Jessica. Thanks for being with us on Radio Noon today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Jessica Miller. She's CEO of the Winnipeg Humane Society. And CBC has reached out to the province for comment on this issue.
Your neighborhood, your community, your country, your world, your news that matters, news that belongs to you. Your World Tonight, every night, 7 days a week on CBC Radio 1, on demand on the CBC Listen app, and everywhere you get your podcasts.
You are listening to Radio Noon on CBC Radio 1, 89.3 FM and 990 AM. Coming up later on the show, let's see, what have we got here? Oh, the ice at Balsam Bay, just south of Grand Beach, is packed to the gills with student fishers. 700 of them. It's an ice fishing tournament, and we'll zoom over to it at 12:45. And taking the temperature on women's health issues. A day-long expo of those topics is planned for Morden in about a week and a half from now. And cheddar soup, pierogi soup, yam soup, broccoli soup. Those are some of the soups featured at the 12th annual Stone Soup event today. We're just going to talk to them in just a few minutes. That should be absolutely delicious. And Riley Lachuk will be here after the 12:30 news as well, but I'll just give you a brief snapshot of what he'll be telling us more about. In Winnipeg today, increasing cloud, a few sunny breaks this afternoon, mainly cloudy, and tomorrow mainly cloudy as well. Slim chance of flurries in the morning and possibly a little bit of freezing drizzle. High today, by the way, is 3 and 2 tomorrow. Thursday, cloudy with sunny breaks and highs of 1. Friday, cloudy, staying quite nice. Here's some temperatures for you. Brandon -3, Churchill -9. In Dauphin, it's 0. Gimli is 1. Thompson -6 with heavy snow. Sunny in the Paw. Freezing fog in Winnipeg, they're saying, and -2 degrees. Oh, this is one of those interviews on Radio Noon when it's lunchtime and we're going to be talking about such delicious stuff like soup. It's the 12th annual Stone Soup fundraiser. It's underway, and 40 restaurants are busy serving up soup to raise funds for school nutrition programs across the province. Folks from other restaurants get to taste the soups, and to find out how the event is going, we've reached Maxine Meadows. She's a community dietitian and operations manager with the Child Nutrition Council of Manitoba. Hello.
Hi there. Thanks so much. I'm here actually at our tasting event right now at Rudy's Eat and Drink.
Oh, do you deliver?
Oh, I wish. I haven't actually had an opportunity to taste anything myself.
So tell me, can you describe the scene right now around you?
Yeah, it's really great. There was 10 restaurants that are actually participating in the week-long Stone Soup event. They're here set up at Rudy's Eat and Drink, and the event is open to the public with a donation entry. They're able to try the soups from the different restaurants, so it's really great. There's lots of chefs here, lots of action, lots of people walking around, chatting, and being able to try the soups, all for a great cause.
Yeah. So quite a lot of restaurants wanted to take part. Tell me a bit about them.
Yeah, so there's, and actually if people are interested, they can head over to our website, childnutritioncouncil.com. We have a listing of all the, it's just about 40 restaurants. I think it ended at 39.
Wow.
Participating in this week-long event.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to visit the restaurant and purchase a bowl of the signature soup for Stone Soup Week, $1 from every bowl of soup is donated back to the Child Nutrition Council, which is then 100% of those proceeds go to Manitoba's school meal and snack programs.
And 39 restaurants. Wow.
Yeah, it's great. You know what? It's this event is really about community coming together, and every year restaurants are just really happy to participate, and we hear feedback from the public that they love it too, because it's a great way to get out and check out some different restaurants or visit your favorite restaurant and try the soup.
So nice vibe there this afternoon?
Yeah, so this is the first time we've done a tasting event. We used to have a live event at Manitoba Hydro Place, and then since moved to the week-long event. And Rudy's reached out and said, hey, we'd like to invite some restaurants to come down and, just offer up some soup samples. And so that's where our media and soup tasting event was born. So, first time trying it, and it seems to be a great success so far.
And what kind of soups are there?
Oh, goodness. You put me on the spot there. I would almost have to walk around and tell you the soup title names. There is quite a variety, and the restaurants are just so unique when they're creating their soups.
Well, I heard broccoli cheddar. I heard pierogi. I heard yam. Just amazing. And people are sampling them, or the tasters? How are they feeling about it?
Yeah, so people, like I say, it's open to the public, and so people have come in, made a donation, and there's little soup tasting cups and spoons, and so folks are just walking around having a taste of the different samples.
And how much money do you think you're going to raise over the week?
Well, last year with our sponsors, our event sponsors, we raised just over $25,000. So we're really hoping for similar this year too, but time will tell. We also have, as part of the event, we also have a raffle. So if anyone's interested in that, there's raffle tickets also on our website. People can buy online. And then, of course, we accept donations as well, and that all goes to the event proceeds.
What are you raffling?
So it's a 60-40 raffle.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so where's this money going?
So 100% is going back to Manitoba school meal and snack programs.
Okay. And tell me about the school nutrition programs. Like, what is their importance for the children and for society, really?
Oh, geez. Students come to school without having enough to eat for a variety of reasons. And regardless of that reason, if someone's at school and we want them to be settled and attentive and ready to learn. And so, if food helps with that, then that's just what we need to do. So, there's all sorts of benefits, right, from educational benefits, health benefits, economic benefits. If we can support students in school, then that's a great thing all around.
So have you tried any soups yourself?
I haven't, but I'm standing right in front of French Way soup, and I think that I'm going to see if I can get a little taste of that one before I head back to my spot.
And what are they serving? Can you tell? Is it their wonderful carrot ginger that I've had many a time at French Way?
Oh, I'm not sure the name of theirs. Oh, it's a lasagna soup.
Oh, I just saw a recipe for that. Well, jump right in there. That sounds great.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, Maxine.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Maxine Meadows. She's a community dietitian and operations manager with the Child Nutrition Council of Manitoba. Oh, yay. I see May, our director, is suggesting we should play a little Lucinda Williams. I saw Lucinda Williams once at the Burt. And she came out on stage. It was super, super hot. And, it gets hot in there anyway. And she came out. She goes, I'm from the Bayou, I think she said. I've never been this hot in my whole life. So all the Winnipeggers were happy to hear that from Lucinda, that she thought it was even hotter in Winnipeg than where she was from. And, of course, the reason we're talking about her is because the Folk Festival has announced their 2024 lineup. And one of the big legends gracing the stage this year is Lucinda Williams. Her 50-year career has carried her through many genres, hundreds of songs, and the astonishing release of 15 albums. So from her 2003 album, World Without Tears, this is Lucinda with Fruits of My Labor.
Baby, see how I've been living. Velvet curtains on the windows too. Keep the bright and unforgiving light from shining through. Baby, I remember all the things we did when we slept together in the blue behind your eyelids, baby. Sweet baby, chase your sin through the gloom till I found these purple flowers. I will spin, I will soon smell on you for hours. Lavender, lotus blossoms too. Water the dirt flowers last for you, baby. Sweet baby. Tangerines and persimmons and sugar cane. Grapes and honey to melon, enough fit for a queen. Lemon trees don't make a sound till branches bend and fruit falls to the ground, baby. Sweet baby. Come to my world and wilderness, the way things have changed. 'Cause I finally did it, baby. I got out of the grange, got my Mercury and drove out west, pedal to the middle and my luck to the test, baby. Sweet baby, I've been trying to enjoy all the fruits of my labor. I've been crying for you, boy, but truth is my savior. Baby, sweet baby, if it's all the same, take the glory any day over the fame, baby. Sweet baby, I've been trying to enjoy all the fruits.
Oh, Lucinda. That's Lucinda Williams with Fruits of My Labor, and she'll be at the Folk Festival. And coming up in the next part of the show, putting women's wellness front and center, we'll hear about an upcoming health expo. That's after the 12:30 news.
This is CBC News. At 12:30, we're at -1 with cloudy skies over downtown Winnipeg. Foggy as well. Good afternoon. I'm Matt Humphrey. Provincial exams are back on for Manitoba grade 10 and 12 students next year. Last week, the province canceled the provincial tests to allow it to modernize how students are assessed. Critics, including parents and educators, argued that would leave Manitoba students unprepared for post-secondary education. Education Minister Nello Altamar says he made the decision to reinstate exams after hearing those concerns.
We've always said we're a listening government, and sometimes, you know, when you're a listening government, you have to reevaluate your decisions, and based on the concerns expressed, that we're reinstating provincial assessments.
Altamar says part of the reason for canceling the exams is the lack of staff in the department to do the assessments. He says they're hiring more people. Altamar says the modernization of the provincial assessment system will continue and take 3 to 5 years. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham's proposal to reopen Portage and Main faces another hurdle today. The mayor wants to reopen Portage, the intersection, by July 1st of 2025. His rationale is repairs needed for the intersection to allow the underground walkway to stay open would require 4 to 5 years of traffic disruption and would cost more money than simply reopening the intersection above ground to people. Council's property committee approved his plan last week. Today, Executive Council is poised to do the same. The only question is how many members of Gillingham's inner circle will vote against it. North Kildonan councillor Jeff Brawadi says he's opposed, and St. Vital councillor Brian Mays, for now, is a question mark. Another investigation has been launched into the controversial ArriveCan app. Now the Public Sector Integrity Commissioner is looking into any possible wrongdoing in developing the technology. Kate McKenna has her details.
The controversial ArriveCan app is under the microscope once again. Public Sector Integrity Commissioner Harriet Soloway confirmed her investigation in a letter sent to Conservative MP Kelly Block. Soloway's office reviews violations in the federal public sector. News of another probe comes 1 month after a scathing report from the Auditor General, who said she ultimately couldn't confirm the cost of the pandemic-era app because of shoddy record keeping. Still, it was initially estimated to cost $80,000, and now the Auditor General estimates the final cost was about $59.5 million. Parliamentarians are set to hear more about what happened tomorrow and Thursday as they question employees of GC Strategies, one of the main companies paid for developing the app. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
And for news anytime, you should head to our website, cbc.ca/Manitoba.
Thanks very much, Matt.
Of course, Lori. How are you?
I'm very well. It's been a while.
It's good to hear you again.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Good to hear you, but I've been listening to you every day anyway.
Back soon.
Bye-bye. And Riley Lachuk, weather specialist, has joined me in the studio. Hi, Riley.
Good afternoon. On what is shaping up to be another, nice day.
Oh, yesterday, though.
Yes.
Oh, actually, I was sweating. I mean, glowing.
Yeah,
Ladies only glow.
10 degrees.
Yeah, we were marching around. It was hot.
At downtown Winnipeg yesterday. Even some readings, maybe your car thermometer picking up some warmer readings, but certainly a nice day. And we're looking at another nice day, but maybe some messy weather on the way. We'll get into those details right now. So we are looking at a little bit of cloud moving through Manitoba right now. We're expecting, though, to see clouds start to build in earnest as we get through the afternoon hours. This ahead of a weak area of instability that is tracking into southeastern Saskatchewan and southwestern Manitoba from Montana as we get into the day on Wednesday. So by the time we hit midnight, fairly good chance we could see some flurries or even some freezing rain into the Brandon region, even as far north as Dauphin and Roblin. That continues as we get later into the morning, before shifting to mainly a snow event by the time we get later into the morning. So by the time we reach lunchtime, I'm calling it about a 50-50 chance by the time we hit lunchtime that we could see some flurries through southern Manitoba. Across central Manitoba, better chance for some of those flurries. Generally a fairly slim chance here in the Red River Valley through the day, but can't rule out, even as we get into Thursday morning, the chance of maybe a few snowflakes as we head through the day on Wednesday. So right now we're at -1 in Winnipeg. Gimli's at 4 this hour, -2 in Brandon, and +2 in Dauphin. So a bit of a variety of temperatures, and that's kind of what we're looking for the rest of the day, looking at a high of 4 degrees in Winnipeg today. Pinawa, 3, Gimli, cloudy and 4 degrees, and start to see that cloud build into the west as well. 2s for both Brandon and Dauphin, and some lingering snow still through parts of northern Manitoba. Thompson and Gillam looking at temperatures around the freezing mark. And like I said, some chance of flurries as we get into the day on Wednesday. Sunny breaks on Thursday. Good chance we could see some showers or some flurries on Friday. -5 the morning low, +2 through the afternoon. Southwest winds gust to 40, so a bit of a mixed bag on the way for Friday. Northwest winds gust to 60 on Saturday with a good chance of flurries in the morning. And cooling off as a cold front sweeps through behind that, -5 for your Sunday with north winds gusting to 50 and clearing through the afternoon. So, yeah, a little bit of a up and down for the weather.
Well, it's tough this time of year for you weather specialists because things change fast.
Things change fast, especially when you have temperatures that are kind of sitting right on the freezing mark.
Yeah, even driving in today, I was thinking, is it going to be icy? Because they were saying a little bit freezing drizzle, but actually it was fine, beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I've noticed it's the sidewalks that are way more icy
Oh, terrifying. Terrifying, yeah. I have some of those cleat things to walk around in, but it's awful because when you walk on the sort of the pavement, it's this horrible scritchiness.
Yes.
But then, but then it sort of saves your lives as you skate down the sidewalk.
Exactly. So, be careful out there because it's a bit slick on some of those sidewalks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Riley.
No problem.
That's weather specialist Riley Lachek, and you can hear him this afternoon on Up to Speed as well. You are listening to Radio Noon. I'm Laurie Hoogstraten, filling in today for Marjorie Dowhouse, and it is just coming up to 23 minutes before 1 o'clock. Well, it's a great follow to International Women's Day. The second South Central Women's Health Expo is happening soon in Morden. A full slate of events around women and wellness is planned for March 24th at the Access Event Centre. There's no cost, it's all free, and it's packed with important information. The Health Expo is organized by Genesis House Crisis Shelter, which serves the Pembina Valley area. Sophie Gerbrant, handles community and resource development for the organization. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Laurie. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. So what's the goal of the Health Expo?
Yes, our primary goal for the upcoming Health Expo is to provide valuable health information in one easily accessible place in hopes that women can feel empowered and educated about their own bodies, because we know that knowledge is power.
So valuable health information. So how will it all roll out? Like what's it like there?
Yes, we have a variety of things happening throughout the day. To start off, I think the thing that people are most excited about is we have 6 fabulous speakers throughout the day. Starting at 10, we have a local certified professional counselor, Tamara Gordon-Stace, and she's going to be presenting on a variety of mental health topics. Then at 11, we have lymphedema specialist and local business owner Linda Menzies, and she's going to be sharing about lymphedema as it relates to breast cancer and available therapies in our area. At noon, we have our very own executive director of Genesis House, Ange Braun, and she's going to be sharing on the social determinants of health. 1 p.m., I'm very excited about this one. We have local dietitian Haley Verzell will be sharing on menopause and nutrition. So this was a highly requested repeat presentation from last year's event.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 2 o'clock, the day just keeps on rolling. We've got local OBGYN Dr. Rachel Noble. She's going to be doing a comprehensive presentation on pelvic health. And then we end the day with a presentation from Winnipeg's very own Catherine Reeford. So those are the presentation portion of the day.
And Catherine Reeford, tell us a bit about that.
Yes, she will be sharing some of her inspiring life story with us, beginning with the terminal brain cancer diagnosis she received just 6 weeks after graduating from her nursing class, like 5 weeks after giving birth to her second child. So she's going to be sharing that journey from diagnosis through treatment and all the fun she's had along the way, from performing on Rainbow Stage to competing in Canada's Amazing Race. She has a very empowering message, so we're really excited to send everyone out after a full day of education with her story.
Absolutely incredible story, as you say. Now, that's quite the breadth of topics. How do you decide which ones to focus on?
Oh my goodness, that has been a challenge. Truly, we could be holding events like this every weekend and not get through all the topics that we want to cover. But we're excited about this lineup. Almost all of them, aside from Catherine, are local to the Pembina Valley, so they are well known and reputable to the women here, which is great. And like I said, that menopause and nutrition was one that we had last year actually at our Health Expo, and people are very excited to have that education come back again. So we hope it's just a good variety. But in addition to those presentations, we also are going to have booths, about 30 set up throughout the day from local health providers. So there will be a lot of opportunity for other education as well.
And some exercise as well.
Yes, we have movement breaks throughout the day to keep our bodies moving. We have a few different local fitness instructors who are going to be leading us through those activities. We also have a free soup lunch that's going to be served and other light snacks available throughout the day.
And how many people are you expecting?
We'll have to see. Last year, we held the event during truly, I think, one of the worst snowstorms of the season.
Oh, no.
But despite that, we still had 200 women join us last year. So our fingers are crossed for beautiful weather and hopefully double the attendance.
That will be a lot of people, and all for free.
Yes. It is all for free. You are welcome to come for one presentation. You're welcome to stay the whole day. We just really hope that people take advantage of these resources that are going to be available.
Well, and as you say, it's free, but do people need to register, let you know, or?
There is no need to register. You can just come and join us at any point between 10 and 4 on the 23rd.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a very exciting day. So that's on the 24th, as you say. And thank you very much for telling us.
Laurie.
Oh, I beg your pardon, 23rd. Yeah. Thanks a lot for telling us about it.
You betcha. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Sophie Gerbrandt is with Genesis House Crisis Center. The South Central Women's Health Expo happens Saturday, March 24th at the Event Access Center in Morden. And for more information, you can see their poster if you Google genesishealthshelter.ca. You're listening to Radio Noon. It is 18 minutes before 1 o'clock. I'm Laurie Hoogstraten, filling in for Marjorie Dowhouse. Well, Margaret Grenier is a Gitxsan dancer and choreographer on a mission. For decades, her ancestors were forbidden from taking part in traditional dance. These dances were performed at potlatch ceremonies where each dance told ancestral stories. Margaret is part of one of the first generations able to practice these traditions openly, and she knows how fortunate she is. That's why she's sharing the history of how her community's dance forms were taken away. Here she is speaking to Unreserved host Rosanna Deerchild about the potlatch ban's impact on her people.
The potlatch ban was a federal law, and it started in the 1880s and it went up until 1952. I recently learned that it wasn't that the law was changed in any way. It was simply forgotten on the federal government side of things and eventually expired. Something that impacted us so deeply was just left. But fortunately, that was the case because it made song and dance illegal on the Northwest Coast. All of the great regalia that we wear when we dance was confiscated. So a lot of what you see in collections, in our museums and galleries, a lot of that comes from that time. And we were fortunate in our family, for example, that our grandmother hid some of our items, our family items, within the walls of her house, and those items were maintained. But for the most part, everything has been done through the work since the ban was lifted.
That's amazing that your grandmother hid some of that, that precious culture in her walls. Why was it important for your parents and your ancestry to revitalize these practices after the potlatch ban?
I think that when the ban was lifted, we saw that there was a real need, but also that it was something that it needed individuals that had to carry this forward. And often I think that's something that we don't realize, that it really does come down to the shoulders of individuals to do the work. My mother had a very special quality to her. She had the ability to really move things forward. And so because of how close we came from losing this practice completely, there was a real strong motivation to ensure that it was something that was just, it was a practice. It wasn't something that was intended to create into a performance work, or it wasn't something that was intended to be cultivated in that way. It was a practice that was integrated into our lives and who we are as Indigenous people. So I think that the thing that really compelled everyone at that time was just ensuring that we didn't lose what we came so close to losing.
Margaret Grenier is a dancer, choreographer, and artistic director of Dancers of Demlahamed. She is part of an episode of on Unreserved on reclaiming Indigenous dances and occupying spaces that previously excluded them. You can hear the rest of her conversation with Rosanna Deerchild today at 1 p.m. here on CBC Radio 1 or anytime on the CBC Listen app.
For breaking news as it happens, stay with CBC News. For the latest updates and what it means for Canadians, stay with CBC News. When the biggest stories break, both at home and around the world, stay with CBC News.
You are listening to Radio Noon. It's 14 minutes before 1 o'clock. Well, fish travel in schools, but schools travel to fish. Hundreds of students from the Pembina Trail School Division are taking part in a fun fishing tournament. Of course, it's highly educational as well. Learning to fish is a valuable skill. And what the kids lack in expertise, they make up for in enthusiasm. The school division says more than 700 students are out on the ice right now, hoping to hook the big one at Balsam Bay on Lake Winnipeg. That's just south of Grand Beach. And they've got a great day for it. Not too terribly cold, but are the fish biting? Christian Bukowski is a teacher at Vincent Massey Collegiate and is out on the ice right now with the kids. Hello.
Hi there.
So what's going on out there on the ice? Where are you right now?
We are on Balsam Bay. Actually, it's the first annual high school ice fishing tournament put on. There's actually schools, not just Pembina Trails, but all across the province, about half city schools, half rural schools. And it's put on by John Taylor Collegiate from St. James. But we have about, I would guess there's about 700 students, about 1,000 people on the ice right now.
Really?
And I think we just caught fish number 50. So,
fish number 50?
Yeah.
And what was it, a pickerel?
Yes, mostly walleye coming out. There's been a couple other sightings, such as like a pike that was just caught with an eel that came out of its mouth. But mostly pickerel. Lots of greenbacks coming up. It's actually part of the, they have a lot of other fun things going on here, like different ways to win prizes, such as trivia, different ways to random draw prizes, such as, catching the 30th fish, the 40th fish, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now everybody's kind of stationed in the middle, as you can kind of right behind me here. And yeah, everybody's having a really good time. We're about less than an hour left of fishing.
Wow. Well, just for our radio listeners, I'm seeing Christian on Zoom, but if you go to the CBC YouTube channel, you can see videos of what's going on there. You can see drone footage of what's going on there. And I'm just looking over your shoulder, Christian. It looks packed. Oh, what are they saying?
Yeah, I'll walk a bit. That's our 45-minute warning.
45 minutes left to fish. So... what's behind this? Like, why an ice fishing tournament?
Well, from what I know, in the past, the St. James schools had been doing this on their own, smaller tournament, and this was the first year that they decided to make it a little bit bigger. And so, yeah, here we are at the first ever high school ice fishing championships. There's a nice banner for the aggregate. So whichever school catches the most fish gets to hang that banner in their school. So we're chasing it. We're now at Vincent Massey. We have three fish caught. I think the leader is at about 5 or 6. So.
And how are the students actually fishing? Like, what do they have? Like fishing rods? Do they have augers? What's going on with that?
Yeah, well, the augers, all the holes were pre-drilled for us, but everybody else has. Most people brought their own equipment. There are some gifts and stuff, but for the most part, everybody brought their own stuff to fish in, and you can actually see some people have ranges of comfort and experience in fishing. Some people have a lot of electronics here, sonar to check out what's going on down below.
Really?
But for the most part, oh yeah. It's you can tell it's actually and in comparison too, it seems like a lot of the rural schools are a little bit more prepared than us city schools in some cases.
Well, considering that there are you city slickers out there and rural kids and there's tons of people, does everybody sort of know each other, or is there different parts of the ice, like this one team at one hole, or how does that work?
It seems it's really hard to track down your kids right now because nobody's really wearing school memorabilia. They're all wearing, different outdoor and fishing memorabilia. So it's hard to kind of keep track of who's where. But I see a lot of commingling, people interacting with others. I'm nearby one of my students here who's actually caught caught a fish here, and I think he wants to maybe say hello.
Oh,
and talk.
good.
What fish did you catch, Ryan?
I caught a 16.5-inch walleye.
What?
Right off the bat.
Wow.
I dropped it right down. And I got I took a bunch of hooks when I was home, and I tied them all into a string, and I just kind of put extra hooks into my fish so I could catch them without losing them.
Where is it? Where's the fish?
It's in the live well.
Oh, so you dropped this giant wad of hooks?
Yeah, with a minnow on it. So when it bites, there was no area on the minnow for it to bite without getting hooked.
You're right. And how hard was it to pull up?
Not very. I didn't have the drag set, so it was pulling out all my line right off the bat.
Wow.
But I fixed it real fast and brought it up.
Well, you sound like a skilled professional. This isn't your first rodeo, right?
Not at all, no.
You should see his equipment, too. His equipment is just as prepared as he is.
Oh, yeah.
Has he got the sonar going on? No.
He did not bring a sonar, but he's got everything else in between.
Like a million hooks and one minnow. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you win.
Thank you.
And it sounds like there's lots of prizes.
Yes, they really have made sure that there's something for everybody. They actually recently just had a push-up competition on the ice with no gloves, though. Everybody had to do it bare hands. So, just different things to keep it fun, and hard to believe that we're actually already almost at the end of the day here.
Oh, that's right. So you guys got there first thing in the morning, I guess?
Yeah, a bell at 9:30 sounded off, and everybody at 9:30 was allowed to run to their the hold of their choosing, and then fishing was able to begin at 10 a.m. So we've been fishing since then.
So the thing is, if you catch a fish, then you take it to some official weighing station or something?
Yeah. So we have a couple tents here. We have a tent for food, and then right behind that we have our main tent. From there, if you do catch a fish, you bring it up there to be measured. There are some rules in terms of how big the fish can be. If it's too small, it doesn't count. And sometimes it's actually it can be a race there, because especially when you have those milestone fish like the 30th or the 40th, and you got two people catching a fish at the same time.
Yeah.
They're running up with their buckets, and it's actually a race to get there first.
And have you been videoing all this?
I've been trying to catch as many pictures for our group as we can, but we do have somebody out with getting some drone footage, and I'm sure everybody's trying to catch as much as they can while we're here.
And what happens to the fish?
All catch and release. There's a couple in a live well right now that we have, but it's all catching and releasing.
Well, I'm just a bit worried about the fish we were talking about earlier, like with 25 hooks in its mouth. Not a problem?
No, I don't. It was pretty smooth. I don't think he did too much damage to that one, and it was released.
Oh, that's good. And so, what happens at the end? Are you doing a running tally kind of thing, or will people know which school wins? How's that happening?
They're at the end of the tournament at around 1:30. Fishing closes, and then they'll have a prize presentation. A lot of the prizes are given as the fish are caught, but the main one is the aggregate banner. And that was the highest number of fish caught by a school. So that's where they get a banner for their gym. Looks pretty nice, but I think we might not be in the running anymore. I think we're probably up to probably 6 or 7, I would guess, by now for the leading school.
Oh, so this is pretty competitive.
I would say so. Yeah, I haven't been to many derbies, but this is making me realize that we have a lot of competitive ice fishers in this province, for sure.
Well, you sure have a nice day for it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like in Winnipeg. It's a little clouded over. It's kind of neat. It's blue skies on one end, out towards the more open end of the lake, and then the shore. We're about 500 meters from the shore, and it's kind of there's been a big cloud kind of following around. But for the most part, it's a nice day. There is one kid out here. He is shirtless and short. I think he's cold, but he's
too tough to say so. Yeah. Well, I was actually going to ask you about that, because you're saying, oh, look at those teenagers. They're not even wearing a jacket. It's the middle of winter. So do you vet them getting on the bus or anything? Like, no. You have to wear a jacket.
Yeah, most people are dressed for it. But again, it's not really a lot of people are just in sweater right now. It's actually gotten nicer as the day's gone on. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, well, I'm feeling for the guy in shorts.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you're wrapping things up. You probably have to get to the finish line or whatever you call it. But thanks so much for talking to us about this. It was great.
No problem. They just announced the biggest fish of the tournament, 23.5 inches. I'm guessing a walleye So they just announced the biggest one caught.
23.5 inches. Way to go. Well, you've got something to shoot for now. You've still got some time left.
Yeah, I'll go motivate my crew.
Okay. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, that's a very exciting tournament, a fishing tournament on Balsam Bay. It's down 100 Mile Road at the south end of Lake Winnipeg, just south of Grand Beach, actually. And 23.5 inches for a pickerel. Great. Well, did you hear that part, Bruce?
That's a master angler.
A master angler.
Could be.
Bruce Layden has joined me in the studio. He's hosting Up to Speed today and hanging. Really? I'm afraid you are. And just giving him some fishing interview first.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are we working on for Up to Speed this afternoon?
I was going to ask you that. Go ahead.
I'm going to be speaking with somebody from the Resolve Network, which is a research group, calling on the provincial governments of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta to declare domestic violence an epidemic. So that should be an interesting conversation. Also working on an interview that may or may not happen, but I'm trying hard. We want to talk to somebody from the Jewish Federation just as a response to Premier Wab Kinew's statement that he read to the legislature calling on the federal government to declare a ceasefire in Gaza.
Yes, I heard that on the news, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it sounds actually pretty serious stuff on the show today.
Could be. I like to have a little fun, too. So
well, you might want to re-air the ice fishing interview,
sure.
Right off.
I'll talk about fishing all the time.
Are you a fisher?
I do, yeah. I haven't in a while, given, now that I think about it, the whole last 4 years, it's coming up on the 4th anniversary of our sort of COVID initial sort of separation and lockdown, right?
That's true.
Realize I haven't fished at all in the past maybe 4, 5, 6 years.
Well, actually, if you were a little bit worried about getting any kind of germs or anybody because of the COVID thing, when you look out on Lake Winnipeg, where I live now, it's like the burbs out on the ice. There are bazillions of fishing huts everywhere. They have roads. People go out there with snack trucks.
Fun to do also.
Yeah, but some of them, they're like living in like 3-room groupings kind of thing.
I know. It used to be an ice fishing shack was the actual way to describe it, right?
That's like the kids we were just talking to, man. They're out there in their shorts and T-shirts and no jackets and catching 2-foot-long pickerel.
Yeah, it's fun to do. Fun. Have you ever ice fished?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
But in our day, you dragged a case of beer out there and you sat on it and you found out the auger didn't work and then you just went home and
made the best of it. Consume as many of those as you can and get back.
And we never caught anything except these things called marias, which are these frightening looking, blobby, weird fishes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's Bruce Layden.
Get out there and ice fish, people.
Yes, he's hosting Up to Speed this afternoon. I'm Laurie Hoogstraten. It's been lots of fun being back in the host chair again. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. And my thanks to May McKillop, who's been directing and teching this show and making it all happen. Have a wonderful Tuesday. And as I say, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Ross, Talk, Nelly Furtado herself, and many more. It's a party that you're never going to forget. Don't miss the 2024 Juno Awards, Sunday, March 24th.